Hello friends. What makes a person born on January 30th so irresistibly enigmatic? Is it their fierce independence? Their razor-sharp intellect? Or perhaps the subtle way they command a room without even trying? Let's dive deep into the cosmic blueprint of January 30th, a day ruled by powerful planetary alignments, ancient wisdom, and numbers that whisper secrets. From Western astrology to Druidic symbols, Vedic karma, and even stone magic, this isn't your average birthday reading. This is a multi-layered soul profile for those born on January 30th. Western Zodiac, Aquarius January 20th to February 18th. People born on January 30th are Aquarians in every electrifying, rule-breaking, paradigm-shifting sense of the word, but with a unique edge that sets them apart even within their own zodiac tribe. As an air sign, Aquarius is deeply intellectual, curious, and wired for innovation. But while many Aquarians dwell in the realm of concept and theory, those born on January 30th bring something extra to the table: pragmatic genius. You're not just dreaming up revolutions, you're figuring out how to build them from scratch. Ideas are your currency, but you also know how to turn them into action. Your ruling planet, Uranus, fuels your love of the unconventional. This is the planet of shockwaves and breakthroughs, and it lives strong in you. You're the type to question everything, especially authority and tradition, and you don't just rebel for rebellion's sake. You challenge norms because you see a better way, and that vision gives you confidence others can sense. The symbol of Aquarius, the water bearer, represents one who brings knowledge to humanity. That's you, constantly offering new perspectives, new ways to think, new paths to walk. And while you may appear detached at times, you carry a profound concern for the greater good. Your modality, fixed, gives you an unexpected depth of focus and tenacity. Once you lock into an idea or cause, you're relentless. This is where your inner contradiction lies: you're wildly forward-thinking, yet unshakably firm in your core beliefs. You often blend the scientist and the activist, the artist and the innovator. That makes you captivating, but also unpredictable. People don't always know what to expect, but they know they can't ignore you. Your energy is both magnetic and mysterious, and that balance makes you unforgettable in every room you enter. Love and romance. Romantic relationships with a January 30th Aquarius are never boring, not even close. You bring a kind of romantic originality that's hard to define and even harder to resist. You're not interested in cookie-cutter relationships, and you'll often avoid anything that feels routine, restrictive, or emotionally manipulative. You need a partner who respects your freedom as much as they crave your attention, someone who understands that your solitude doesn't mean disinterest, and your independence isn't a threat but a core part of your identity. In love, your brain comes first. You fall for someone's mind, ideas, vision, and energy long before physical attraction enters the scene. Deep, thought-provoking conversations are your love language. You want someone who's weird in the right way, a little rebellious, a little philosophical, and very much their own person. Once you feel mentally and energetically matched, your affection flows freely, often in unpredictable but deeply sincere ways. Still, romance can be a confusing terrain for you. You may come off as emotionally aloof or hard to read because you don't always process love in the same way others do. You're not likely to flood someone with texts or grand gestures, but when you care, really care, it's evident in your consistency of presence, your loyalty, and your willingness to share your inner world. The challenge for your partners: understanding that love, for you, means growth, freedom, and discovery, not control or codependence. The challenge for you: opening your heart just enough to let someone truly in without feeling like you're sacrificing yourself in the process. Sexuality. Your sexuality is anything but ordinary. It's a multidimensional experience that begins in the mind, travels through emotion, and culminates in physical connection. For someone born on January 30th, mental stimulation is the ultimate aphrodisiac. You're turned on by sharp ideas, rebellious thoughts, and a partner who can keep up with your fast-moving intellect. A deeply engaging conversation can linger in your thoughts longer than a physical touch. You're not just looking for sex, you're looking for a mental and spiritual symphony, a connection that lights up every part of your being. Experimentation comes naturally to you. You see sexuality not as a fixed identity or a set of rules, but as a playground of possibility. You're open to trying new things, questioning traditional dynamics, and even blurring lines that others wouldn't dare approach. This doesn't mean you're reckless, quite the opposite. You're thoughtful, curious, and intentional in the way you explore intimacy. You seek partners who are emotionally brave and physically adventurous, people who aren't afraid to share their truth or challenge you with theirs. What sets your sex life apart is that it evolves. It's never static, never predictable, and never just about the act itself. Your sensuality is often laced with symbolism, creativity, and an almost futuristic sense of what intimacy can be. You might explore role reversal, energetics, tantra, or other forms of sexual expression that go beyond the physical. At your best, you make your partner feel like they're part of an ongoing, unfolding discovery, and with the right match, intimacy becomes not just passion, but a revolutionary act of connection. Marriage. For you, marriage is not a life goal, it's a sacred alignment of souls, a union built not on tradition but on mutual vision, growth, and respect. You don't approach marriage lightly. In fact, you might resist it entirely until you're absolutely sure you found someone who understands and accepts your inner world. To you, commitment isn't about ownership, it's about co-creation. When you marry, it's not for appearances, social expectations, or financial security. It's because someone touches your spirit in a way that makes you feel more like yourself, not less. Your ideal marriage is a dynamic ecosystem, not a static institution. You need space to breathe, evolve, and sometimes even retreat into your inner world without it being misunderstood. In return, you offer loyalty, support, and a deep level of companionship that transcends surface romance. You and your partner must be on an ongoing journey, of learning, innovating, and building something meaningful together. You crave a marriage that's unconventional, exciting, and always in motion, a constant dance between independence and intimacy. But here's the challenge: boredom is your kryptonite. Once things become routine or too emotionally predictable, you start to pull away. You don't thrive in relationships that stagnate, they drain you. If your marriage begins to feel more like a box than a launch pad, your spirit will naturally look for new places to expand. That doesn't mean you're disloyal, it means you're wired for evolution, and so is your ideal partnership. To keep love alive, you need constant intellectual engagement, emotional authenticity, and the freedom to reinvent your relationship over time, not out of crisis, but out of curiosity and growth. Friendship and social dynamics. People born on January 30th are natural connectors, magnetic in social circles, endlessly curious, and always up for a conversation that dives beneath the surface. You're the kind of friend who doesn't just ask, "How are you?" You ask, "What's lighting your brain on fire this week?" You seek connection on a mental and energetic level, and your friendships reflect that. You're drawn to people who can challenge your ideas, laugh with you about life's contradictions, and match your desire for novelty and depth. Your presence in a room is equal parts calming and disruptive. You invite people to be more themselves, even if they've never felt safe doing so before. Despite your social skills, you maintain a strong boundary between what the world sees and what you actually feel. You can be incredibly private, even secretive, about your inner life. Friends might feel close to you and still not fully understand what's going on beneath your cool, analytical surface. You give generously, your time, your ideas, your encouragement, but very few get to see your vulnerable core. For those who do, it's a privilege. You build lasting, meaningful friendships with people who respect your inner world, who don't push too hard, and who understand that love can exist even in silence. One of your greatest social gifts is your ability to blend seemingly incompatible people. You're the bridge between worlds, the artist and the scientist, the activist and the entrepreneur, the introvert and the wild child. You can read the energy of a room and shift it with a single comment. That said, your friendships require balance. You tend to disappear when you're deep in thought or chasing a new project, not because you don't care, but because you're wired to follow inspiration wherever it leads. The people who love you learn to give you that space. Still, the key lesson in your social life is presence, being consciously available, even when your mind wants to wander into the future. Business and career. You weren't born to clock in and follow someone else's blueprint, you were born to disrupt the system and rebuild it from the ground up. As someone born on January 30th, your career path is almost never linear, rarely conventional, and always ahead of its time. You spot gaps in logic, inefficiencies in structure, and opportunities in chaos. Your mind is wired to see what others overlook, often identifying future trends years before the mainstream catches on. That visionary skill makes you a powerhouse in industries where creativity meets progress, especially tech, innovation, and anything involving transformation. You thrive in spaces where ideas can breathe. Startups, non-profit think tanks, progressive brands, art collectives, and socially driven enterprises are your playgrounds. Whether you're inventing the next user interface, writing stories that reimagine the future, or creating climate solutions with a global impact, your work always carries a greater purpose. You don't just want to build something, you want to change something. Your ambition is rarely rooted in ego, it's driven by a need to contribute. Ironically, because you're so committed to meaning over money, financial success often finds you as a byproduct of your devotion. However, your greatest challenge in the professional realm is authority. You don't take direction well, not because you're arrogant, but because you value intellectual merit over hierarchy. You need to respect someone's mind before you can follow their lead, and if that respect isn't there, you're likely to go your own way. This can lead to friction in traditional structures or corporate environments where conformity is valued over innovation. The solution? Either find leaders you admire or become your own boss, where your brilliance has the freedom to flourish. When aligned with your purpose and free to create, there's virtually no limit to what you can achieve. Zodiac compatibility. When it comes to compatibility, January 30th Aquarians seek more than chemistry, they want mental fireworks, soul-level understanding, and the freedom to evolve within a relationship. The best matches for you are those who can keep up with your intellectual pace, respect your need for independence, and aren't threatened by your constantly shifting inner world. That's why Gemini, Libra, Sagittarius, and Aries stand out. These signs are not only quick-witted and curious, but also open to change, making them perfect companions for your ever-expanding mind. With Gemini, you'll find a fellow mental explorer who thrives on conversation and humor. With Libra, there's a beautiful balance between intellect and charm, a match that can feel like art in motion. Sagittarius brings passion and adventure, challenging you to step outside your comfort zone. And Aries, bold and fearless, matches your energy with vision and intensity, creating a bond full of passion and mutual respect. On the flip side, some signs might find your personality a little harder to navigate. Taurus, Scorpio, and Cancer are often drawn to emotional stability and clear, defined roles in relationships, which can clash with your fluid, future-focused nature. Taurus, with their love for routine and security, may feel thrown off by your spontaneous detours and philosophical detachment. Scorpio, though intense and deep, may become frustrated by your need for space and mental independence, interpreting it as emotional distance. Cancer, a nurturer at heart, might crave emotional validation you don't naturally express, leading to misunderstandings and unmet expectations. These matches require immense patience and emotional awareness from both sides to work. Then there's Leo, a surprisingly magnetic match. At first glance, your fixed-air nature might seem too detached for Leo's fiery, dramatic heart. But dig deeper and you'll find that both of you crave impact and legacy. You, through ideas, Leo, through expression. If you can both honor each other's independence while celebrating each other's shine, the result is a relationship that's dynamic, creative, and mutually empowering. The key is mutual respect. When that's in place, this duo becomes a true power couple, lighting up every room with passion, purpose, and presence. Numerology, the power of 330. Being born on the 30th gives you the creative and communicative energy of life path number 3, amplified by the spiritual frequency of the number 30. The number 3, ruled by Jupiter, is expansive, optimistic, and endlessly expressive. You are naturally drawn to the arts, storytelling, writing, music, and any outlet that allows you to translate emotion into form. People notice your charisma, it radiates without effort. You walk into a room and somehow elevate the mood just by being yourself. Humor is your shield and your sword, and through it, you often reveal profound emotional truths without making people uncomfortable. As a 3, you have a gift for communication that can manifest in many ways, through speaking, writing, visual art, or even the way you carry yourself in social settings. You're a natural entertainer, someone whose purpose is to uplift, inspire, and ignite the creative spirit in others. But you're not all light and laughter, you carry deep emotional reservoirs beneath your sunny exterior. You often process the world through your feelings, even if you don't show it, and there's a quiet sensitivity behind your bright personality. This emotional depth gives your work substance, allowing you to connect with people not just through style, but through soul. The influence of the number 30 adds a deeper, more intuitive dimension to your expression. It's often called the spiritual communicator number, a vibration that resonates with teachers, counselors, and visionaries. This gives you a heightened sense of emotional intelligence and the ability to heal through words. Whether you realize it or not, your voice carries weight. You can comfort or confront, inspire or devastate, all with a single sentence. This makes it crucial to choose your words carefully and intentionally, because your influence is far greater than most people's. But like many 3s, your biggest challenge is follow-through. You're an idea generator, a spark starter, but sometimes struggle to carry projects to completion. Discipline is your missing ingredient. Once you master that, there's no limit to what you can create. Druid horoscope, the cypress tree. In the Celtic tree horoscope, being born under the cypress tree bestows a presence that is both timeless and deeply grounded, like the tree itself, tall, enduring, and reaching between earth and sky. Cypress is a symbol of faithfulness, eternal life, and quiet strength. Those born under this sign often carry a mysterious depth. You may not be the loudest in the room, but your energy is impossible to ignore. People sense that you've seen things, felt things most wouldn't talk about openly. This makes you an anchor in times of chaos and a source of silent wisdom among your peers. You don't chase attention, but somehow, attention finds you. Cypress individuals possess a natural resilience that comes from their introspective nature. You spend a lot of time thinking, not about trivial matters, but about existential truths. Who are we? Why are we here? What happens after we die? These are not morbid thoughts for you, they're fuel. They give your life meaning, urgency, and clarity. Because you've made peace with life's impermanence, you often live more fully, with greater emotional honesty and a deep commitment to authenticity. You are the kind of person who, once trusted, becomes a lifelong friend or partner, someone who can weather storms without crumbling. That's the power of Cypress, inner stillness in the face of life's noise. There's an unmistakable, old soul quality to you. Even as a child, you likely felt somewhat apart from others, not because you were isolated, but because your thoughts already reached beyond your age. You may have questioned traditions, sought deeper meaning in everyday moments, or found solace in solitude while others needed constant stimulation. That's your inner druid at work, the ancient part of you that remembers wisdom carried through generations. Cypress people often gravitate toward roles that offer guidance, protection, or deep service, whether as counselors, spiritual seekers, artists, or protectors of truth. In every interaction, you carry the quiet dignity of someone who understands that life is a sacred, unfolding story, and you're here to help write it with intention. Vedic Indian astrology, Makara/Shatabhisha Nakshatra. In the ancient wisdom of Vedic astrology, your sun may rest in Makara Capricorn, a sign of structure, ambition, and long-term purpose. But in this tradition, it's your nakshatra, or lunar constellation, that truly defines your soul's blueprint, and most January 30th births fall under Shatabisha, one of the most enigmatic and mystical nakshatras in the zodiac. Ruled by Varuna, the god of cosmic law and universal truth, Shatabisha gives you a profound connection to hidden forces, unseen energies, and the deepest layers of reality. You may not always speak of it openly, but at your core, you are a seeker of truth, a modern mystic wrapped in a rational, often scientific exterior. The symbol of Shatabisha, a circle or 100 healers, speaks volumes about your potential. You are a natural healer, not always in the clinical sense, but in how you create space for others to feel seen, safe, and understood. Your mind is sharp and analytical, which often draws you into careers in science, medicine, technology, or psychology, but your soul always yearns to blend logic with meaning. You're someone who can walk between the worlds of reason and spirit, blending clinical skill with emotional insight. Your presence alone can be therapeutic. People may not know why, but they feel better just by being around you. That's the healing magic of Shatabisha, subtle, invisible, but profoundly real. Despite your deep sensitivity, you're also a strategic nonconformist. You don't rebel loudly or emotionally, you rebel with intention. You're the one who finds quiet ways to challenge the system from within, whether through innovative thinking, policy changes, or simply refusing to play by rules that don't make sense. You may appear calm on the surface, but underneath, you're dismantling outdated structures and creating new paradigms. You don't do this for attention. You do it because you're called to. Your work, whether personal or professional, is often karmic, part of a larger mission to restore balance and clarity where there's been confusion. Shatabisha is sometimes called the veiled healer, and that's exactly what you are, someone who transforms lives not through force, but through quiet, undeniable wisdom. Flower horoscope, orchid. The orchid is your soul's botanical mirror, a flower known for its rare elegance, quiet strength, and complex inner life. To be associated with the orchid means you possess a beauty that isn't loud or obvious, but instead draws people in with mystery and intrigue. You may appear calm, polished, and almost untouchable to the outside world, but beneath that exterior lies a deep ocean of emotion, creativity, and passion. Orchids thrive in very specific environments, and so do you. You flourish not in the spotlight, but in spaces that honor nuance, thoughtfulness, and emotional depth. This makes you selective with your energy, but when you connect, it's deep and unforgettable. Your emotional intensity doesn't always show itself in dramatic displays. Like the orchid, you express your inner world in subtle, refined ways, through art, design, humor, language, or silence. There's a kind of controlled chaos within you, wildly imaginative thoughts and powerful feelings that you've learned to channel with grace. People may underestimate just how much you feel, create, and process. That's the paradox of the orchid personality, appearing serene while carrying a volcano of creative force inside. It's no wonder others find you mesmerizing, even if they can't explain why. Your passion is quiet, but when it's awakened, it consumes. You're also deeply loyal, but that loyalty is earned, not given freely. Once someone gains your trust, you become a fierce protector and supporter, often showing up for your inner circle in ways that go beyond the ordinary. Still, not everyone gets to see you bloom. You don't reveal your true self easily. You open slowly, selectively, and only to those who've proven they can handle your depth. But when you do open up, the transformation is stunning. Like the orchid, your presence becomes something rare, powerful, and unforgettable, leaving a lasting impression long after you're gone. Stone horoscope, garnet fluorite. Your primary birthstone is garnet, a deep red gem pulsing with energy, courage, and love. For an Aquarius born on January 30th, garnet acts as a powerful grounding force, anchoring your high-frequency ideas and helping you reconnect to your body, your heart, and your instincts. You live so much in your head, bouncing between visions, theories, and future plans, that you sometimes lose touch with the here and now. Garnet gently pulls you back into the moment, reminding you that passion isn't just an idea, it's a living force meant to be felt, expressed, and shared. Beyond grounding, garnet is also a stone of vitality and emotional renewal. It helps prevent burnout, especially for Aquarians who tend to overthink and underrest. Garnet recharges your life force, supports emotional resilience, and balances your heart chakra, making it easier for you to connect authentically in both romantic and platonic relationships. When you wear or work with garnet, you may find yourself more attuned to your needs and boundaries, more willing to be emotionally honest, and more inspired to live passionately instead of conceptually. Your bonus stone, fluorite, is the perfect energetic counterpart to garnet's fire. Where garnet grounds and intensifies, fluorite clears, aligns, and sharpens. It's your metaphysical toolkit, a mental purifier that cuts through noise and chaos, helping you focus, organize, and follow through on your most important ideas. For someone like you, whose thoughts often move faster than the world around you, fluorite brings clarity and structure without dimming your creativity. It balances your aura, enhances your intuition, and strengthens your decision-making skills. Think of it as your cosmic compass, guiding your wild genius towards something concrete and world-changing. When garnet and fluorite work together in your life, they create a dynamic synergy, fire and light, passion and precision, helping you live more fully, love more deeply, and create more boldly. Your soul lesson. Your soul came into this world with a mission that defies convention, to question what others accept, to invent what doesn't yet exist, and to heal what the world doesn't know is broken. You weren't born to color inside the lines. You were born to redraw them entirely. Your very presence challenges systems, ideas, and emotional norms, often without even trying. This is the gift and the weight of your path. You're here to bring light into unseen corners, to use your sharp intellect in service of humanity, and to turn your inner vision into outer impact. But even visionaries have lessons to learn, and yours begin with the art of grounding. To be grounded is not to be boring. It is not the opposite of visionary. For you, grounding is about creating a solid base from which your ideas can launch and land. Your mind is electric, always generating, analyzing, and imagining. But without balance, you can become scattered, overextended, or emotionally detached. Your soul lesson is to root your ideas in real experience, to stay connected to your body, your emotions, and the present moment. When you do, you become unstoppable, not just a dreamer, but a builder of dreams. The next layer of your growth is understanding commitment without self-erasure. Your freedom is sacred. You protect it like oxygen. But not every commitment is a cage, in fact, the right ones can be a portal. Whether in love, career, or purpose, learning how to say yes without feeling owned is your spiritual work. True commitment, for you, should feel like expansion, not contraction. You don't need to compromise your individuality to show up fully, you simply need to redefine what devotion means in your unique language. The more you master that, the more you'll discover that commitment can amplify your magic, not diminish it. And then there's the final, and perhaps most difficult, lesson, letting others in, even when it feels vulnerable or unsafe. You carry your heart in a hidden place. Maybe you've been misunderstood, maybe your ideas have been dismissed, maybe your spirit has just grown used to self-reliance. But to truly fulfill your mission in this life, you must risk emotional intimacy, not just intellectual connection. You're meant to be seen, not just for your brilliance, but for your humanity. You are allowed to be both strong and soft, analytical and emotional. When you open that door, even just a little, you invite in relationships that don't take away from your independence, but instead celebrate it alongside your soul. You are the paradox, the storm and the calm, the outsider and the leader, the question and the answer. There will be times when you feel like you don't fit anywhere, and that's not a flaw. That's a clue. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to stand out, to create a space where others like you can finally belong. So when life feels too strange, too lonely, or too undefined, remember, that's exactly where your genius lives. You are not lost. You are becoming. The world needs your courage, your compassion, and your refusal to settle. Trust that. Trust yourself. The stars wrote the outline, now it's your turn to write the legacy.